Welcome back, everyone. As we celebrate International Women's Day, we want to look at it from a generational perspective. I'm joined by a panel of amazing women ranging in age from 24 to 61 who are all sharing what their upbringing was like. So big hello to Rhodas, Sindhu, Bianca, and Sue. We appreciate you all being here today for this. And I want to start with the youngest on our panel first, Rhodas. I hear your mom did not adhere to what she was taught her role was in the family. So can you tell us about that and how it shaped the woman you've become?
Yeah, so in our household, we never really were taught about gender roles. It was always about just partnership within the family. So our house is full of female energy. It's my mom, my sister, and me, and my dad. So definitely, yeah, a lot of female energy. So when my mom was growing up, there was a lot of focus on her as a woman cleaning and cooking and rearing the family, and that was what she was meant to do in the house. And her father always told her, "That's what you're going to be doing," and she always said, "No, I'm going to find a man that's going to cook and clean with me, and it'll be great." And he was like, "Keep dreaming. It's never going to happen." And luckily, she found someone that did see the house as a partnership. So right now, the way she raised us was a lot of more focus on us as individuals, and a lot of focus on education and our individual happiness.
Now, my mom worked. It was never a question. I always knew, I think they always knew if they were going to be in Canada, they were going to have a two-income family in order to survive. Sindhu, I understand your mom and your grandmother had a similar upbringing. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so my mom came to Canada just a few months after I was born. My dad was a student in university, so they just were trying to make like every dollar that they could. And my mom just did random jobs that she could find at that time in order to, provide for her family. And so, she just kind of always worked and she still works to this day. But I don't know if it was ever spoken that you have to work. I think it was kind of like they just didn't have a choice. She just had to do what she had to do. But she grew up in India. Both of my grandmothers on both sides, they were widowed at a super young age. So they had to raise their children by working, and neither of them like even went to high school. So they barely graduated from grade school, but they became entrepreneurs at a really young age because they just had no choice. My dad's mom, she started a dairy farm, and until she died, that was her life. I remember visiting her, and that was like my favorite memories is like watching my grandma work, which is kind of funny to think about. And my grandma, my mom's side, she was just like this tenacious woman. She started a liquor store in her village, which would have been unheard of in her time. They both were so strong, so independent, and had this like crazy entrepreneurial itch that I just loved watching.
Ooh, that is so good to have a front row seat to. Now, although they were so independent, they put pressure on you to get married at a young age. Is that right?
Yeah, like I remember, that's just what you always were supposed to do. You were supposed to go to school, get a degree, get married, have kids. And, that was like starting in your early 20s, that was like drilled into you.
Okay, Bianca and Sue, both representing LGBTQIA communities. I'm going to start with you first, Bianca. Can you share what you were taught the role of women should be growing up?
For sure. I was taught that women are brave and strong and stoic and the real bosses. Like Rhodas, there's a lot of feminine energy, female energy in my house. And my parents are hetero, and they did a really, really good job modeling working towards a common goal and community values rather than gendered expectations. So sometimes those gendered roles did end up having the overlap of traditional, what we would expect for parents to be each doing as dads and moms.
Okay, now I know you have a daughter as well as a partner. You have a wife. So, how is the role of a woman perceived in your house?
Well, all bets are off when you have two gender nonconforming moms. So my wife and I have some shared skills, and we have many vastly different skills. So I'm read as femme, and my wife is read as androgynous or mask of center. So there's a lot of assumptions made about what we each probably do at home. Hint, mine are always perceived to be domestic, and hers are always in the manual labor bucket. Ironically, if it involves something physical or financial, manual labor, I'm up. And if it's domestic or emotional labor, typically it's my wife that handles those things. And 13 years ago, I started an organization called Bebo Mia, whose goal is to smash the patriarchy and unpack white supremacy. So Gray's been raised by two activists, which is, really cool to watch her now, how being 13. So we teach her that women, again, are brave and strong and brilliant, that we're creative, and that we're survivors.
Can you all adopt me? I like this. Oh, this good family conversations happening. I'm going to switch over to Sue for a moment. Being a fabulous 61-year-old, I'm wondering if there were very traditional views in your home growing up about these gender roles.
There definitely was a traditional role in our home. The view of a woman's role in the home was that the women were the ones who looked after the home and the men went to work. And so it wasn't that it was necessarily said, but it was modeled for us. And there were distinct roles when it came to household chores for my older brother and I. I was tasked with indoor cleaning chores and my brother did outdoor chores. And my mother felt it was really important for me to have the skills to be able to clean a bathroom and clean the house and prep food and do cooking. I mean, when I look back at my childhood, I think that I always thought my dad was in charge in my younger years, but it became very apparent over the years that my mother was the director of operations. She's the one who made things happen and made the decisions. And we all laughed. My dad in his later years, he baked 4 loaves of bread a week. They shared the household tasks of cooking, cleaning, and many other things. And it wasn't so much that it was gender specific as it was their preferences and just shared responsibilities. But my mom really instilled in us to do what would make us happy and live our own lives the best that we could.
Okay, so you've been together with your wife for 18 years, married for 7. Congratulations, and you have daughters.
Thank you.
How are women represented in your home today?
Well, we know that we are powerful, smart, driven, and we can overcome challenges and tragedies. And whatever life throws at us, we'll get back up on our feet and we will carry on. And we've had our share of challenge and tragedy in our family. And so we really set out to teach our daughters that to be strong and independent, to not rely on anyone else, and to give them the tools that they could be independent. So we tried to make sure that they would be able to handle challenges and tragedies as well, and they've had their share. So, and on top of that, they had to deal with a blended family and having 2 moms, and that was an interesting journey of coming out in itself. So I believe they see my wife and I as very strong women. When it comes to household roles in our present day life, they're really carved out on a preference basis and pretty much shared for the most part. It kind of shifts from time to time. It really depends on scheduling and capacity. And it's not even so much that we have a discussion about it. It just kind of happens organically.
Thank you all for just being so inspiring. I've loved these conversations and I've loved hearing about each of your experiences, also different and also important. Thanks so much for sharing with us.